Welcome back into that Sean podcast. It's I, the Big Ush. Is he, the Cat Daddy, coming at you once again via I Ain't Gonna Tell You. What's on your mind, Cat Daddy?
You know, it's starting to get to that lull period in the offseason where the draft is worn off. Later on today we'll be talking about the rest of our draft classes, finishing up our last two divisions. And then it's just waiting for training camps to open up and the off-season programs to continue. And it's almost like there's not that exciting period. But if we can if we can throw some teasers out there for people, fantasy football's coming up.
It is indeed.
So we gotta start preparing for that fantasy football season.
Also, college football's coming up, and there could be some college news coming out. We just giving you a little tidbit. June's almost here. Just letting people know, come June, July, we might be starting to do our little what is the segment that we like to do? Our summer scouting. Which I know Cat Day can't wait to look at players for next year's draft, not having seen any college football this year. It's going to be so much fun for him. I know it.
I know. I already got a list of like 75 people.
That's how we roll, people.
This year. Yeah.
Anyways, jumping right into it, I'm giving Cat Day the floor, and we're going to discuss some of the news that's been going on. So, without further ado, come with it.
We're going to ease in with some transactions, and we'll get to the real fun stuff. So as far as recent transactions go, we have James Bradberry staying in the NFC East. Recently released by the New York Giants, he has signed a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. So even though James Bradberry is coming off a subpar season, I think that this is going to be a great addition for the Eagles secondary, and he's going to form a pretty good duo with Darius Slay.
And I do not.
What do you think? You don't?
Here's the thing. Maybe. The Eagles are banking on a lot here. And this is the problem that happens with the Eagles quite often. They have these teams that have a lot of talent, but the problem is they bank on these older players that are either right at or kind of over the edge there. Darius Slay is still pretty good, but he's not the same guy he was in Detroit or even that first year in Philly. James Bradberry looked almost cooked last year. So maybe he can have a resurgence, but we'll have to wait and see. And Philly banking on that's a problem in my opinion. This is what happens when you navigate the draft the way you did and you don't take one of those premium corners. You're still relying on older corners who've already hit their ceiling. We know what these guys are. These guys have one place to go, and that's down.
And maybe Philadelphia is banking on Bradberry may not have been playing as hard as he could have or should have, considering his New York Giants and the state of their franchise, the organization.
Well, that's very sad. Happening. That makes it even worse because he's supposed to be a professional.
I know. It's just a little speculation, but on paper, the Eagles have to be considered a winner of this offseason. But the key words there are on paper.
On paper.
They signed Hassan Reddick, who's a little bit older. They re-signed Fletcher Cox. They drafted his replacement with Jordan Davis. They re-signed Jason Kelce. They drafted his replacement with Cam Jurgens. They traded for A.J. Brown. They added a couple pieces in the drafts. And they have 2 first-rounders in next year's draft. So on paper, things are looking good. And I think that means I need to quit dogging Howie Roseman.
I never dog Howie Roseman. Somehow he gets first-round picks for nonsense players. The problem here is, again, and here's the thing. I give him Jordan Davis. I'm not as high on Cam Jurgens, but I get it, even though you draft a replacement player and later on in that draft where you guys need help now. And I get it. You got A.J. Brown. Well, Again, a guy who probably was traded partly because the price tag that he was going to command and his availability on the field has not matched. Now, I'm not saying A.J. Brown won't play every game for the Eagles. I actually hope he does. I think he's a very good player. But I'm saying it's unlikely he plays every game this next season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so those are the Eagles. Any other thoughts for Philadelphia? James Bradbury?
No. I think I let loose quite a bit there.
All right.
I'm not even saying the Eagles won't be. They have a chance to win the East. The problem is Jalen Hurts is still the quarterback, and he's going to need to take a significant leap, in my opinion, because I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going away.
Hold on to your Jalen Hurts thoughts, because we have a little segment later on regarding quarterbacks. So hold on to Jalen Hurts for a few minutes.
Well, okay.
Just a few minutes. It won't be too long. But next up for free agency news would be great news for Myles Garrett, because the Cleveland Browns have re-signed edge for hire Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year deal that's worth up to $11 million. Now, the rumor is he turned away more years and he turned away more money in order to return to Cleveland for a 1-year deal.
Who was offering more years and more money?
And I'm going to guess that those deals came from non-contenders. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to guess that there is very little, if any, guaranteed money after the first year. So Clowney's probably like, do I want to go to a non-contending team, or do I want to go back to a team that has a chance at the playoffs and also has Myles Garrett?
I think this is good for Cleveland. I think it's good for Clowney. When Clowney's on the field, he is an absolute game wrecker, especially in the running game. Also, this deal isn't, I mean, it's no sweat off of Cleveland's back. If he's not available, which has tended to happen, it doesn't matter to him because it's up to. It's not all guaranteed.
Up to $11 million. I believe that includes some of the bonuses too, like sack bonuses that are in there. But you're
exactly.
Right. This is great news for Cleveland, because if they did not re-sign Clowney, they would probably be forced to start Chase Winovich or rush one of their rookies, whether it's Alex Wright or Isaiah Thomas, into an immediate starting role. But now it means that Cleveland's pass rush, I think, has a pretty formidable duo between Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, provided that Clowney can stay healthy for at least 14 games in the season. And last year, they combined for 25 sacks between the two. Now, 16 of those were Myles Garrett. But we'll see what this year's brings, and Clowney gets to reunite with Deshaun Watson.
Reunited, and nope, we can't
doesn't
say
feel,
that. That doesn't work. Next up.
All right, our last bit of free agency news would be Kyle Fuller has agreed to terms with the Baltimore Ravens.
Good for the Ravens. They needed something.
Great bargain for Baltimore. I mean, Fuller's coming off was considered a down season, but now their secondary includes Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters returning from injuries. You have Chuck Clark and Tony Jefferson in the secondary. You acquired Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, now Kyle Fuller. And then you have rookies like Jalen Armour-Davis and Demarion Williams. Mm-hmm. Assuming that they can all stay healthy, I think this might give Baltimore one of the best secondaries in the league.
We'll see if they keep all these players. Some of these guys might be camp casualties. I'm just saying.
They might be, but I think Harbaugh is going to be afraid of what happened last year when injuries just struck. True. And they were down to, picking people off the street to throw into the secondary. So I think a little bit of fear is there, but you gotta look at this. Man, that's a pretty stacked secondary.
It's nice. It's nice. All right, next up.
All right, so that's it for players acquisition-wise. We have some other news in the NFL, such as, could there be changes coming in the Capitol? So rumors are that the NFL owners are expected to vote on removing Dan Snyder as owner of the Washington football team and forcing him to sell the team. I mean, when you look back at the Washington football team and what Dan Snyder has done, last season we saw the stadium practically falling apart, which risked injury to not only fans but players as well. They've had more than one investigation into a toxic workplace environment, and most recently, they have been cooking the books to withhold ticket revenue from the rest of the league.
And let's not just end there. How about the accusation of players basically stating that they've used their cheerleaders as sexual distraction objects, putting them right by where the players would come out and basically warm up? That's nonsense. I mean, why are you using these women that way? That's not. They're people, not tools to be used that way. I mean, there's more. I mean, look at just some of the football moves that have gone down. This team has been mediocre at best with Dan Snyder there. I mean, I'm loving it. Go ahead and keep him there. But I mean, in truth be told, this is overdue. This is overdue. Dan Snyder is an atrocious individual, and I'm sorry, it's overdue.
Yeah, and then adding on top of that was how they handled player injuries and the recoveries. Wasn't that a big reason why Trent Williams wanted that, Tom?
Yep.
Now, in order for Dan Snyder to be forced out, there needs to be 24 out of 31 votes in favor of the sale. So,
does anybody like him?
I'm sure Jerry Jones wouldn't mind having him around because it's like an automatic 2 victories per season.
I guess more too, so you know.
Yeah. But I don't see, and especially if these allegations of withholding ticket revenue are
That's
true
crazy.
and accurate, then I don't see how
Some people
any
say,
owner.
what ticket revenue?
I don't see how any owner would be in favor of keeping him. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 31 out of 31 come back in favor of him selling.
So you don't think like this whole thing of him trying to unveil buying plot of land in Virginia to build a brand new stadium is going to save his ownership?
Having so many months to select a new team name and team logo, and the best you can come up with is Commanders, and the slogan that you had, Take Command, actually belonged to a football team in another league, I think shows very poor ownership and decision making. And that was just most recently. I thought they used the Sean Taylor tribute as a distraction from legal problems, and that was that's just my opinion, but it just seemed like really horrible timing to
with
have
the failure to have enough security to stop idiot Mahomes from dancing on it.
It's like smokescreen, and smokescreen is trying to hide the problems, but I think there's just too much against him that he just can't recover from it.
All right, just want to speak on something that's gonna probably upset a lot of our if we have many listeners. Fight songs for NFL teams, they are stupid. Just saying.
Cool for college,
Dumb
not for the pros. Yeah.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No, not necessary. Yeah, we're looking at you, Jet fans. Anyway.
Hey, they gotta get hyped and excited for something, right? They're
the main ones. anyways, moving on to another set of news. Just to mention, you know we don't get as involved in this type of stuff, but Deshaun Watson, apparently according to Roger Goodell, who I trust as far as I can, throw him. According to him, they are nearing a decision. Just give him 6 games and be over with it, like you do everybody else.
His exact words were, "We are nearing the end of the investigative period, and then it will be handled by the disciplinary officer." However, he didn't give any time frame or timeline of what any potential disciplinary would be delivered. So I know some people have been looking at what Major League Baseball did with Trevor Bauer as far as a 2-year suspension, but I don't think Roger Goodell has the cojones to do something like that. You think with everything he's allowed Dan Snyder to get away with, and there hasn't been the adequate punishments or discipline given to Dan Snyder. Do you think Roger Goodell is really going to do this to one of the stars of the league, the highest paid quarterback? No.
No way.
I would expect 6 games. That would be my expectation.
All right, next up, I just want to get some opinion here. We're going to jump into that college football, and there have been some fireworks being laid in college football. Apparently, Nick Saban is coming at people, talking about the NIL and how Texas A&M apparently has bought their top-ranked recruiting class. Well, Mr. Jimbo Fisher has fired back, saying Nick Saban thinks he's God, and letting him know that there's only one player in that recruiting class that has an NIL deal. Well, what are your thoughts on this, Cat Daddy? Is this good for college football?
Now, looking at Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher real quick before we get into the whole big picture, I love the rivalry that's going to happen. I love it. I don't like how Nick Saban brought in other coaches,
Not
like
necessary.
Deion Sanders. He could have gone without that. He's a pretty savvy coach who's dealt with the media for so many years. So I would expect a little bit more tact in the delivery of his message, but he seemed very passionate that Texas A&M just bought their class. And when you're looking at it, it does look a little strange because in 2018 they had 0 5-star recruits. 19 they had 2 5-star recruits. 20 they had 2 5-star recruits. 21 cycle they had 1 5-star recruit. And now with NIL Open, now they have 7 5-star recruits and one of the best recruiting classes of all time. So does it look a little fishy? Yeah, but
Maybe Jimbo's just good at his job.
he could be.
I mean, how long has he really been the head coach there?
Let me double check. Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M. So it looks like he's been at A&M since the 18 season.
Oh, yeah, that is hinky.
So it's been there for a couple of years. Man, this class is blowing up though.
That is hinky.
But the greater question is, this is just a small look, the micro view of it. When you take that macro, we take that step back. What is NIL doing to the game of football, college football? Because I believe right now you have Jordan Addison, who was at Pittsburgh, and I believe he entered the transfer portal and is now going to commit to USC. And the speculation is there's a big 7-figure payday for him when he goes to USC.
Yeah, but is this all just NIL for that? Let's be honest. Is it all NIL for that? Because let's look at it plainly. Kenny Pickett's no longer going to be at Pitt. Who's their quarterback now? I don't even know. But
they have, I think, Kadon Slovis, or no.
It was. But USC now, who just transferred there? Going with Lincoln Riley?
Yeah, they had Caleb Williams. He transferred there. They had number 1 recruit in this class. I forgot his name.
Right, so
he transferred.
Who would you rather play with? I'm just saying.
I know, but it looks so strange that he waited so long to transfer or to enter the transfer portal. He didn't enter until May, I believe, officially.
Right. And that's here's the thing. What's the problem there? Is it the transfer portal or is it the NIL?
I think those two are merging together and blending more than we want them to, because now NIL is almost NIL plus the transfer portal is the equivalent of college free agency.
Yes, agreed. Only you can do it almost at any time.
I think you can transfer once without sitting out a year. If you transfer a second time, I believe that's when you have to sit out.
And you're right, Slovis did go to Pitt.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't like Don Slovis.
I guess not. And it seems like, based on reports, Jordan Addison could receive higher NIL offers from other programs, not
Again,
USC.
I am mad at him. I have no problem with any of this. I'm mad at you know something, schools? Go to your boosters and get them to step up. If it's a bidding war they want, it's a bidding war you give them.
The rumor is Jordan Addison is set to receive nearly $3 million.
The only thing that makes me feel bad about this is that Reggie Bush had his Heisman taken away before this put in effect.
And still can't get it back.
That's the only thing. I'm sorry. Because Reggie, I'm here with you. I don't mind what you did. I support.
No, but even $3 million, even if other programs are offering more, $3 million is a lot for a kid still in college.
Good for him. I'm sorry. You won't find me on the other side of this. Good for him. The NCAA has profited for too long off the backs of these kids, and the chickens are coming home to roost.
And I think one thing that we mentioned last year around this time when NIL was first coming out was they need rules and regulations for NIL. They need to find a way not to make it a fair playing field, but they have to have rules for the institutions to play by. They have to have a set of regulations to govern this, but they didn't come out with anything. It was just, well, you can now pay your athletes, have at it, and there's no lane to stay in.
Here's the thing, though. Athletes need to pick what they're going to do. Do you want to go to a smaller school and be big fish and get paid that way because you're going to be the best player on that team? Do you want to go to a bigger school and possibly still get paid decent, but you're not going to shine as much? You know, I mean, there are ways to make this work. You know, the big question is, and I forgot which coach said it. I think it might have been Clemson coach. What's his name?
Dabo Swinney.
I think it might have been Dabo talking about, do we need the NCAA? Should we find a different way of doing things without the NCAA? And those words, here's the thing. Put it in place what you need, but I'm all for it. Find a different way, because I'm sorry, the NCAA is an atrocious organization.
It's like the NCAA as a whole doesn't do much. They assign it to each conference, and then the conference can decide what they want to do. But what the conference decides to do may be different from what the next conference decides to do. And there's not as much consistency as you think there would be when you have, 120 plus teams in Division I football. Yeah. They really need to come down with rules, regulations, not just for NIL, but to govern the whole football. Otherwise, what is the point of NCAA besides allowing them to make money?
Being a bunch of... I'm not going to say that.
And thank you. My mom still listens. Yes.
Anyways, moving on. Let's do our QB segment before we get all completely in the weeds here.
All right. So the draft is over with, and free agency, for the most part, is wrapped up.
No, it's not.
There's still some activity going on. I get it.
You got players out there.
I know, but those guys probably aren't going to sign until after June 1st.
Most likely.
So we got to wait a little bit more. So we're gearing up for training camps. The idea here is, let's take a look at some quarterbacks that we think are going to face the most pressure to succeed this year. And we'll go through division. We're not going to go through every team, but we'll touch every division and see which quarterback do you think faces the most pressure in that division.
Which division you want to start with?
All right. Let's start with the AFC East.
AFC East.
Quarterbacks would be Tua Tagovailoa. They would be Zach Wilson, Josh Allen, Mac Jones.
Tua
Which
Tagovailoa.
quarterback?
And I'm a Tua fan, but it's on Tua now. Miami has set this squad up for success. Quarterback is what's, everybody believes has been lacking, even though I think Tua won them games last year. I mean, Josh Allen's already proved himself. Zach Wilson, I mean, he's not there yet. And Mac Jones, in my opinion, is in line for a regression. So it's Tua. Tua needs to step up, do his job, stay healthy, and help this team get to some wins.
I wanted to come up with another quarterback because I figured that you'd be taking Tua. I want to come up with another quarterback who would be facing the most pressure in the division. But you're right. Tua Tagovailoa has been given every single thing that he needs to succeed, from the surrounding talent, offensive line, playmakers, even some additions to defense that don't help him directly, but rather indirectly. He has a brand new, supportive, offensive-minded head coach who actually wants to coach him, and I think that's going to be an addition.
There's that, too.
And to quote Tallahassee from Zombieland, it's time to nut up or shut up for Tua.
Indeed. Next division.
That's it. All right, so we're going to go to the NFC East, where our quarterbacks would be Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Carson Wentz.
All right, so this one's easy for me. You can pick the other guy if you want. It's down to two guys because let's be honest. Let me talk about the two guys that don't matter first. Carson Wentz does not matter. They call me Mr. Glass. Sit your butt down. The franchise you're with is a mess. You tend to be a mess, and yeah, that mess isn't working. Daniel Jones, you are on your last leg, so you do have a lot of pressure on you, but at the same time, nobody believes in you. So again, sit down. So going on, Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott are the main ones to talk about. My whole thing is everybody knows my stance on Jalen Hurts. I can't go with him. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. Yes, I'm going with my quarterback, Dak Prescott. He's the best quarterback in this division. He needs to prove it. Amari Cooper is out of town. He's got some new receivers. There's a receiver that also needs to step up big for this one. So we might do a receiver episode next week. But Dak Prescott needs to step up and prove once again that he's the big dog in this division. Win this division back-to-back years, and you will be making a statement.
And my two were very similar as Dak Prescott and as Jalen Hurts. I think Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, in this case, they don't matter. They're two easy targets. The pressure is not that large for them. For Dak, it's you have to get to the playoffs and you have to win in the playoffs. I think that's it for Dak. But my biggest quarterback with the most pressure would be Jalen Hurts.
Same argument as Tua?
He had more reps as a starter last year, so he doesn't have the experience in the game. They've added offensive talent like A.J. Brown. I mean, Devontae Smith is entering year 2, and Jalen Hurts didn't exactly look good last year. I mean, for fantasy purposes, he was great, right? Rushing threat, got some touchdowns, but for real life purposes, he didn't look very good.
Cowboys, man.
And he wasn't helped very much by a supporting cast either. Now, I'm not saying the Eagles have to get to the playoffs and get a win in the playoffs, but I'm saying this year there needs to be tangible on-field improvements to his game. Don't allow the stats, don't allow fantasy football to cloud your vision of how well he's playing. I don't want to see Jalen Hurts be an athlete. I want to see him take the step forward to be the franchise quarterback. For him, like Tua, there are no excuses. He's got everything he needs. He's got to do it.
All right, next up,
we're going to go to the North. Let's take a look at the AFC North, where we have Joe Burrow, Mitchell Trubisky, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson.
This one's easy for me. So, Joe already proved himself. He made it to the Super Bowl. Lamar has an MVP. Now, no, you could say Lamar needs to prove stuff because that was his first injury ridden season, and he didn't look good at times, but I think Lamar has proven himself time and time again. Mitchell Trubisky has next to no real pressure on him other than Kenny Pickett, so get out of here with that nonsense. Yeah, he's got about 8.5 inches of pressure on him. Oh yeah, I just made a hand joke. So the pressure is on Deshaun Watson. You got traded for a king's ransom. You just got a mega deal. If you are playing this year, you need to win every game you play in. Plain and simple, in my opinion. You need to either be in or you need to win every game. So let's say you're out for 6-8 games. When you come back, you need to lead this team to the playoffs. You need to prove that you are worth this. I might think a certain way about you, but Cleveland needs you to be a certain way on the field, and you need to prove it. Go ahead.
I had two guys in mind for this division. One of them was Deshaun Watson. You've just been given a very large contract, a lot of guaranteed money. You got to produce for it. But here's my number 2 guy. My number 1 for the AFC North is actually Joe Burrow.
Really?
Because he had a lot of success. He took Cincinnati to the Super Bowl. But he said that getting back to the playoffs is the standard. Now you got to back that up.
Back it up.
Now you got to make sure Cincinnati gets back to the playoffs. You can't have regression. You got to keep improving. You got to take another step forward. So I think Joe Burrow has the most pressure in the AFC North to repeat what he did this past year. All right, so we're going to go to the NFC North where we have Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, and Jared Goff.
All right, so I know who it really is. I know who it really is. And it is who it always is. But I'm not going to take him because I know someone else is going to talk about him and probably talk about him at length. So I'm actually going with a low-key name. Jared Goff. Because what Detroit has done the last 2 years has been pretty good. They've got some runners on the team. They've got like some running backs. They've got TJ Hawkinson. They just got Jameson Williams, and they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who came on last year. The offensive line is actually pretty decent. The defense is going to make strides with Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe Jeff Okudah coming back shows that promise that he had previously. Dan Campbell has had this team be very productive, or very not productive, be very competitive. Yep. Jared Goff, you're the one. There's no throwing the ball out of bounds on 4th down. There's no, looking like a deer in the headlights. You need to prove that you were the number 1 overall pick a couple years back for a reason. Show these Detroit faithful that they don't need to be picking number 1 overall in next year's draft.
True. For me, the NFC North only had one name.
I know.
It's Aaron Rodgers. And I felt that last year he was the player who had the most pressure on him to win. And I think that's similar this year. And it's going to be similar for any year that he continues playing. He is going to be the player with the most pressure on him. Because for Aaron Rodgers, and how people will view his legacy is, he has to get back to another Super Bowl.
Get back?
He has to win another Super Bowl.
Gosh, you're mistaken, right?
And while I don't want this scenario to happen, even if he does not get back to the Super Bowl, I don't think that will tarnish his legacy and what he's done on the field.
I don't either, but it's Super Bowl or bust with Aaron Rodgers every year.
Any year he's on a contract, any year he's on the roster, Super Bowl or bust. If he doesn't make it back, well, people just have more of a reason to hate him. more of a reason to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers sucks because he couldn't get back to the Super Bowl. Because when you're looking at quarterbacks, whether we like it or not, wins are a quarterback stats.
No, they're not. Stop that nonsense. It's not. We're not arguing about that
be.
today.
I know it shouldn't be, but that's how people will look at it.
No, but here's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. It's the fact that Aaron Rodgers is given everything he basically wants except for a receiver. It's like, oh, you didn't like Mike McCarthy, he's gone. You don't like Ted Thompson, he's gone. Oh, you want them to start drafting differently, they do.
I think it's funny where the line is drawn at receiver. You want a new head coach? We got it. You want a new owner? We got it. You want a new wide receiver? Whoa. Whoa. That's crossing a line, okay?
All right. Let's jump to these other divisions.
All right, next we have the AFC South, where we have Ryan Tannehill, we have Matt Ryan, we have Davis Mills, and we have Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Lord. Do we have
Mine
to?
was easy.
Do we have to?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ryan Tannehill. I'm sorry. Davis Mills has next to no pressure on him because it's like, really? Really? Trevor Lawrence, again, he's a second-year player with a brand-new head coach, and Jacksonville's dumpster fire. I'm sorry. So then you have Matt Ryan, who, yeah, maybe Matt Ryan, because Indy does this every year. So I'm saying Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has taken this team to the playoffs multiple times. He has failed in the playoffs multiple times. They need to go further this year, and that means not throwing 4 interceptions in a playoff game, especially with a young gun sitting behind him. If that young gun develops faster than people think, it will be very scary for Ryan Tannehill.
For me, I wouldn't go Ryan Tannehill number one. My number one?
You went Matt Ryan.
No, I'm going Trevor Lawrence.
Really?
You've been dealt a crap hand. There is no denying that.
I'd say there's no pressure on him.
But sometimes that's what comes with the territory of being a number one pick. That's what comes with the territory of being a generational talent at the quarterback position. You have to transcend. Whatever obstacles are against you, you have to overcome them. Now, again, the deck is stacked against you this year. Because
we're talking about most pressure. God.
But Jacksonville cannot draft number one for a third consecutive season.
Right, but what I'm saying is, see, this one we disagree on here big time, because you said most pressure. I'm not saying Trevor doesn't have any, but I can see Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill with more pressure on them than Trevor Lawrence. Unless Trevor Lawrence is atrociously bad, he will have this job next year. Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill may not have a job next year with these current teams.
Well, we already know that my opinion is Ryan Tannehill's out after this year. So
okay,
there's not that much.
You say it's just foregone conclusion?
They're just going to hand it off to Malik Willis. Yeah.
Okay. No. Let's go to the.
We'll see how well this ages. Yeah. All right. NFC South. We have Tom Brady. We have Jameis Winston. We have Marcus Mariota, and we have probably Sam Darnold.
Anyway,
I know.
Here's the thing. It's 2 players. First of all, Carolina, dumpster fire, does not matter. Atlanta, taking a flyer on Marcus Mariota. If he works out, cool. If not, they didn't expect him to begin with. So it's down to 2 quarterbacks. Both teams are all in on them, but it's one in particular, and it's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady's coming back to have fun. And it should be Tom Brady, but it's not. It's Jameis Winston. They traded up for another receiver. They went out and traded first-round picks last year for next year to get an offensive tackle. They're all in on Jameis Winston, and they need Jameis Winston to produce not yesterday, but a couple of weeks ago. This needs to happen, and it needs to happen now.
All right, since you had Jameis Winston, I'm going to go with Tom Brady. And I'm going to say that because after unretiring...
I don't believe it, though.
Well, let's listen to this argument real quick. After unretiring, anything short of a Super Bowl is going to be a disappointment. That's
fair.
what it comes down to. He unretired. You don't unretire because you want to come back and have fun with the guys again.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you just don't want to be at home with the ball and chain. I mean, the wife.
But for Tom Brady, I think similar to Aaron Rodgers, any year that he's playing, especially now that he's unretired, you got to get to the Super Bowl.
That's fair. All right.
All right. The last two divisions, we have the AFC West, where we have Patrick Mahomes, we have Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson.
Oh, it's down to 2 again. All right. So Derek Carr, there is pressure, but it's not as much pressure as these other 2 guys.
No, they just gave him a contract extension too. There's not much pressure there.
There's still pressure because he's going to have to produce now. Justin Herbert, not that much pressure. He's the young gun. He's showing some stuff. So it comes down to 2 guys. And I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson has pressure on him a lot. But at the same time, Patrick Mahomes is the one who imploded. I mean, outright, full-fledged, catastrophically imploded in the playoffs. He was running around back there looking like he had no clue how to play football anymore. This is supposed to be the future best quarterback in the league. Apparently, according to some, he was already the best quarterback in the league. Well, he proved to be wrong last year. You cannot do what he did in that game against Cincinnati and be the best in the league. That was I literally have no clue what was going on. I was before my eyes. I was watching Patrick Mahomes just forget how to play football. It was wild. So he needs to come back focused. Let's not forget there's no Tyreek Hill on this team. I get they got Sky Moore. I get they still have Travis Kelce, who is another year older. What is he, 34 now? So
he's younger than that.
So
I think he is. I think Kelsey's like Jason Kelsey's that old, not Travis though.
Hold on, we're gonna check this. I know I'm probably wrong. I'm just throwing numbers out there, my guy. 32. I'm sorry, I was off by 2 years.
Okay,
he'll be 33 when the season's going on. October 5th. So basically a month in the season, he'll be 33. I'm not that far off.
All right, so you're pretty close. I think the AFC West is a division where all the quarterbacks have pressure because you're looking at the rosters and all quarterbacks should be fighting for a playoff spot. All of them could and should be in the playoffs. But for me, the most pressure is going to be on Justin Herbert. It's tragic that you missed the playoffs last year. Absolutely tragic. But you got to overcome. You got to make the playoffs this year, buddy. You can't go 0 playoff appearances in your first 3 seasons. You're offensive rookie of the year in 20. You made the Pro Bowl in 21. You've got the ability. Your team is surrounding you with that talent.
Tough division, my guy. Tough division.
I know. It's an arms race there. It absolutely is, but now he has to shine. So for me, I'm going Justin Herbert. He's got to make the playoffs.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I can't hate on any of these quarterbacks being picked. I know what I saw.
All right. And then for the NFC West, we have Matthew Stafford, we have Kyler Murray, and we got Trey Lance / Jimmy Garoppolo and Geno Smith / Drew Lock.
Okay, so let's both agree that Seattle and San Francisco don't matter here. All right. So Cat Daddy, this time those rules of trying to pick different ones out the window. We know who the most pressure is on, and let's just pick him. Kyler Murray. You want to be a child and ask for a brand new contract when you're still under contract and pout about your contract. You just put the target on your back, bruh. Oh, you want to have this team that plays really good in the beginning half of the year and implodes later on along with your play. Again, target on your back, bruh. Not to mention it, if you look at their schedule this year, which I'm going to pull up while Cat Daddy's talking, it's not favorable to them. The beginning part of the year, no way they start the way they have normally. But, Cat Daddy, go ahead and talk about Kyler Murray, because I know that's who it is.
You know, as much as I want to be different and choose Matthew Stafford, because you're thinking, Matthew Stafford, people were talking about how he should be Hall of Fame worthy after winning his first playoff game and winning a Super Bowl last year. They need to pump the brakes on that one, because that conversation shouldn't be had yet. Now, if we're focusing on Hall of Fame resume, then yeah, a lot of pressure's on Matthew Stafford to continue what he started last year in the Rams.
But I think he can make the playoffs and like have an amazing regular season for, like, let's say the next 2 to 3 years and make it a Hall of Fame career. I do. If he continues having success, maybe not winning a Super Bowl but making it to the playoffs, showing that Detroit was just stupid, then, but let's pump the brakes saying that right now.
Exactly. Pump the brakes. But we're focusing on this year. It's got to be Kyler Murray, because you want that massive extension. You want that massive extension before your 4th year, which is very hard to come by, but you haven't done much to earn it. You haven't done much to prove yourself, and pouting during last season's playoff loss, I believe, against the Rams, and refusing to go back in the final couple of minutes because you were down by so much, that's not setting a good example for your organization, your teammates, for the fans, assuming people were paying attention to that. You want that extension, you got to earn it. Now, the season's going to start tough. You're going to have a very tough slate to begin the season, not just schedule-wise, but also because you're going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season. So you have to show that you can be the bigger man, and you have to step up and get the job
fired.
Done. Short joke.
All right, we're gonna have some fun here. I'm going to have you tell me if the Cardinals are going to win the game. And we're going to see what their season ends like if Kyler gets his contract.
Oh, man. We going all 17 games?
Yes, we are.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we're going to have to save this one and see how right I am at the end of the season.
All right. Are you ready?
Fire away.
Kansas City, week 1.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with the loss.
That's at home, by the way, but you're still taking that loss.
Yeah, they're taking the loss.
Week 2, in Vegas.
Oh, that one I think.
In Vegas.
In Vegas. I mean, it's still pretty close to Arizona. It's like it's a very far travel to go.
Yeah, but they get up for those Raiders games. I saw those on the prime time.
They do. This one, I'm going to go.
I'd still say loss.
Yeah, I'm going to go Raiders in that one.
All right, then at home for Los Angeles Rams.
Loss.
All right, this one you can give them. They're at Carolina.
Win. 1-3 so far.
At home against Philly.
I'll give them that one. We'll go. They're 2-3 at this point.
At Seattle.
They're 3-3 at this point.
At home versus New Orleans. I ain't giving them that one.
Now they're 3-4.
At Minnesota.
I like what Minnesota's doing. I don't know about the defense. They should have DeAndre Hopkins back. So I will give them this one.
Seattle at home.
Man, I'm going to give them that one too.
5-4? Ooh. But now they go to Los Angeles to see the Rams.
5-5.
At home against San Francisco.
5-6.
At home against the Chargers.
5-7.
Bye week at home against New England. I'd give them that one.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about New England's offense at the moment. So what are they, 6-7?
Yep, but now they go to Denver.
6-8.
And they come home to Tampa.
6-9.
At Atlanta.
7-9.
At San Francisco to end the year.
Oh man, they'll probably split that series. They'll go 8
So
and 9.
Yeah,
That's not good enough to make the playoffs, though.
8 and 9. No,
That's
oh,
not good
God.
enough to get a massive contract extension.
it's
That's
not.
not good enough to make the playoffs.
No, it's not.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. Arizona goes 8 and 9 next season, misses the playoffs.
I agree with that, actually. So, that's all she wrote for this episode. I put Cat Daddy on the spot, which I know y'all love. Cat Daddy, hey, where's wisdom?
I'm going to piggyback off last week. There's too much hate in the world. Be kind. Be nice. It's so easy to do. I don't know why we don't do it more.
All right, I'm going to go, and I'm not going to speak on current events, but I'm going to speak from current events. Find your loved ones. Give them a hug. Hold them tight. The world can be very cruel. You need to hold on to what's important.